setting up a logic model is very important at the beginning of your project, but also revisiting it over time and making sure that it aligns with what the way that your work has been evolving. We will be explaining the general concepts, purposes, and components of logic models, and then we'll share and discuss a sample logic model that we think would align to an apprenticeship program. Logic models serve a wide variety of purposes. Working with states, we see that they get used a lot for project planning and management, especially when projects are first getting underway. Developing a logic model can be used to map out the components of a program and identify how those components will lead to program goals. And then they're also used for tracking progress over time. We see that logic models could be used more often to drive continuous improvement in programs that are always in place. So taking that leap from using it just for planning and management to making it a living document that becomes the center of your evaluation, as well as something that can become a clear and simple graphical representation of what your project is to share with stakeholders, both internal to your agency as well as externally. In simplest terms, your logic model is going to articulate the relationship between your program and then the results of the program. So on the program side, you have your inputs, so your resources, and then you have your strategies and activities. And then as a result of that, you have your outputs, so the outputs of those strategies and activities, and then the short and long-term outcomes to help you document impact. Also important to think about as you're sitting down or to develop your logic model is to think about the assumptions that are involved and who's involved, what will make it work, as well as some of the environmental kind of like macro factors that are in play in your state, in your region, in your districts that may influence its success. An example of how this could look for a registered teacher apprenticeship. So we see that some of our inputs are, different, the SEA leaders, EPP program leaders, the college and university faculty. We could have state or federal labor leaders involved in the project. We need people at the district involved. We need mentor teachers to be involved. We may need community or union members to be involved. We need funding. So every program will need funding. So where is this funding coming from? And I'm sure it's a variety of different sources for your apprenticeship. We need knowledge. So how are we going to be able to bestow knowledge onto the apprentices? What activities are we planning on engaging in? So different activities for our pre-service teachers, different activities for our mentor teachers, different activities to engage district staff. And then we want to make sure that we're receiving the content that the program designed, that mentor teachers are receiving the right support, that they're attending the trainings, events, classes that they're intended to attend. We could get perceptions about what they thought about those trainings and that it was high quality. How many teacher apprentices have we recruited and enrolled? How many are, if we're thinking about a grow your own program, how many are coming from high school? What's the para to bachelor trajectory look like? And making sure that we're tracking every step of the pipeline. And then when we're looking at outcomes, what percentage are completing their coursework? What percentage are receiving any kind of salary increase? What percentage are successfully completing the apprenticeship program within the intended amount of time and are receiving their certification? And then we're looking at longer term outcomes. Things that we'll want to be tracking are things like retention. So are the people that were trained through their apprenticeship program being retained in their positions for X amount of time? Are they more diverse than other teachers that are in those districts? Are they improving teacher shortages in the districts where they're being employed? And what are some of the instructional outcomes? So are we seeing impacts for students?